Let's move on now because Energy Minister Chris Bowen, well, he's going to be joining the Prime Minister in New York to announce Australia's 2035 emissions reduction target to the world. Before jetting off, he went on the ABC and repeated Jim Chalmers' charge that those who disagree with the government's climate change catastrophism are cranks and crackpots.
Do you think those who say we should abandon Paris, drop the net zero target, are cranks and crackpots?
I think there's both. I think there's people of bad faith in Australian politics exploiting this issue. The National Party, they are, in my view, betraying regional Australia. There are people with genuine concerns and issues which need to be worked through, and we've got to communicate to those people and correct the disinformation that people like Barnaby Joyce and Matt Canavan and Colin Boyce, National Party MP this week said climate change isn't real, denied climate change, member of the Alternative Government of Australia. There are people who engage in climate change denial who just ignore all the science, and I think that's deeply unfortunate. I don't have any respect for that.
So there you go. But Chris Bowen repeatedly refused to agree that 90% of the nation's energy would be supplied by renewables within the next 10 years, as recommended by the Climate Change Authority.
It certainly shows what's possible in the women's game now, if you play with the right tempo and the right...
OK, that was not Chris Bowen.
Unless he's changed
Unless he's changed, but no, there you go. But no, he did say that. He's refused to put a timeline on any further target. Meanwhile, Barnaby Joyce accused Chris Bowen of pursuing a vanity target, which is exactly what it is, to which Climate Change Authority Matt Keane replied that people living through floods and fires would disagree.
Net zero is devastating for our economy and will have absolutely zero effect on the climate. It's really important. Everybody understands it. It has no effect on the climate whatsoever. All it's doing is a sort of vanity project that us and some European countries are participating in.
Well, Barnaby Joyce called this a vanity exercise. I don't think that the fishermen in South Australia that are getting smashed by an algal bloom think this is a vanity exercise. I don't think the thousands of people who lost lives and livelihoods during the worst floods our country has ever seen up in Lismore, or the worst bushfires that our countries have ever seen in the Black Summer bushfires. I don't think they think this is a vanity exercise.
Please, spare us. Why should Australia, James, do all the heavy lifting when we emit 1% of the world's greenhouse gases, yet we're being asked to do a bazillion things, and for what? Because it's not going to stop the rain.
No.
It's not going to stop the sun.
No.
And what, we're sitting by waiting for this, climate change Armageddon to hit us? I mean, give me a break, seriously. Firstly, point about Bowen. He repeatedly refused to agree that 90% of the nation's energy would be supplied by renewables in the next 10 years. So then, what exactly is the point of being on board this magic carpet ride fantasy to net zero? If you cannot set a target, if you cannot guarantee that, one, our energy bills are going to go down, two, you can't actually put a price on it, three, you can't even guarantee a target, then why are we on the carpet ride? Secondly, he's talking about the National Party he goes, in my view, betraying regional Australia.
Yeah.
Has Chris Bowen set foot in regional Australia to actually know what's going on? I'll give you a hint, Chris. Right now in New South Wales, in a regional town, you've got wind turbines 250 metres tall being proposed. It's literally ripping regional communities apart. Over in Victoria, they have allowed people, if you say no to transmission workers coming onto your property, then you could be fined. So these people are coming on there to connect solar and wind to the grid. And guess what? If you refuse, because of course it's razoring up your land, too bad, you're going to get fined tens of thousands of dollars. But Chris Bowen will tell you that the Nationals have absolutely no idea about regional Australia.
There's a whole lot of problems with what the government is doing. Firstly, they're not going to meet their 2030 targets, which begs the question, why set 2035 targets that are particularly ambitious? You're not meeting the ones you've got. Second, as you mentioned, on the key question of cost, the government doesn't want to talk about what this is going to do to our energy bills. In fact, Anthony Albanese laughed during the press conference when asked to nominate a figure, and then became tetchy when asked again, and he just told reporters, well, refer to the report. And as you said, Danica, we produce 1.1% of the world's emissions. If we got rid of all of those emissions today, it would make zero difference to the world temperatures, because the world is continuing to increase its emissions. So the only difference it's going to make is to our economy. And one more point. The discussion on this topic continues to be infantile. We saw earlier Chris Bowen saying, yes, there's crackpots and what was the other thing? Cranks. I was going to say crackheads, but same. They continue to demonise anybody who dares to disagree or have a debate. And one more point on that. It's shocking that the leader of the Liberal Party seems scared of having a debate and has delayed any kind of conversation for a year while they do research. Meanwhile, Chris Bowen is getting away with this because there's no opposition.
Well, the thing is that Chris Bowen, even on Friday, James, he was asked several times by Sky News reporters, actually, what does this mean for energy bills in this country? He could not answer. He kept just saying, refer to the modelling. The Prime Minister was asked the same thing. He said, refer to the modelling. Remember what the modelling told us last time? It told us that our power bills would go down $275. Fast forward to this year's election, suddenly, oh no, that was Reputex modelling, that was irrelevant, that was to the modelling of the day. So Labor cannot be trusted with this modelling line, but that's what they're going with
it's
now.
It's not just that they can't be trusted with it, they don't trust it. Otherwise, they'd be quoting it.
That's the thing, they don't know. But I agree with you, though.
The report said a $1,000 decrease in prices over 10 years. It's there in black and white, but Anthony Albanese does not want to quote his own advice.
Exactly, and that's why he's scared. But, you know, I do agree with you. Who else is scared? It's Susan Lee. And if this is not more evidence for the Liberal Party to drop net zero altogether, nothing will, because you've got the fumbling Labor Party. They don't know what they're talking about. Now is the time to set the standard, get the ball rolling now. Put an agenda forward and put a campaign forward, James, to go to the next election with clear policy differences. Well, that's what I think. Anyway.